Today on SpaceX by Teenage Astronaut, China prepares to land the first ever Mars lander / rover thingy. NASA's Ingenuity helicopter flies for the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth time, and finishes its technology demonstration. And to end out the episode, I talk about SpaceX flying the Falcon 9 booster for the 10th time. Let's talk space stuff. Welcome to another episode of Space Stuff by Teenage Astronaut. I'm Joe the Teenage Astronaut, and this is my third time recording this segment after the last time it didn't even record. Why did it have to do that to me? But yes, today we have been talking about, like we said in the intro push, talking about China and how they're about to land the first thing they've ever landed on Mars. That'll be coming up soon, actually, in the next couple of hours. By the way, in this episode, my first two topics, the only thing that'll be visible in the video version is what you see right now. It will just be my little banner there. Because I will be getting a bunch of, because, there won't be nothing to show but an article, as the information I quote from it, will be from the article. There's some stuff I just know, but some stuff I don't, that I want to talk about involving this article. So, my voice, poor voice. But yes, today, China will attempt to become the second nation to successfully land a spacecraft on Mars, joining the United States, the U.S. Tianwen. By the way, in this portion, there's a bunch of stuff that I am going to botch up. I'm going to botch the pronunciation of, because I have no clue how I'm saying it. I have no clue how to say it. But it launched, if you don't know, in July 2020. In the really busy Martian launch window for it, because in it was this thing's launch, the NASA Mars 2020 mission launch, and then also the United Arab Emirates Al-Amal orbital launch. All three launched in July of 2020, but this one, the Tianwen-1 spacecraft, launched from the Wenchang spacecraft launch site on the southern Chinese island of Hainan, aboard the fifth flight of the China's Long March 5 rocket, heavy lift rocket, on July 23rd, 2020, as well as making the first time the Long March 5 had launched a payload beyond Earth orbit. The launch of Tianwen also marked China's first mission to Mars. By the way, all these articles, videos, and whatnot that I talk about in this episode will be in the description of the video and also in the description of the episode, of the audio. My full voice. But yes, the third spacecraft, but also there were three spacecraft that launched in one. There was a orbital probe, a lander, and a rover. Currently, the orbital is it actually orbiting now? Or is it still in that spot? I don't know. But, the lander will be landing on Mars, and the rover is on the lander and will be coming off the lander to do its things. So, like all other spacecraft going to land on Mars, it needs to go through the 7 minutes of tail, which is also, like I say, for us here on Earth, 18 minutes of tail, because of the 11-minute wait of communication. So, yeah. So the way this worked was for it to land, the orbital will have to do a temporary deorbit. Well, basically the way it works is, it's already happened. They will temporarily deorbit. They temporarily deorbit the Tianwen orbital, which, because of this, means that the entry capsule doesn't need to have its OMS, or orbital maneuvering system, and which is not that dissimilar to the strategy used by NASA's Galileo spacecraft, which opened an atmospheric probe into Jupiter in 1995. Now, obviously, after this, the orbital will re-orbit itself so it doesn't fall into the atmosphere and break up and, go into pieces. And then after that, the capsule will fall into the atmosphere. It will hopefully survive entry. And then it will have parachute deployment. And the heat shield will separate. And the back shell and parachute will separate. And then it'll land. Basically going almost exactly the same way that Perseverance landed. And then after that, it will be landing on the Utopia Planitia. In the Utopia Planitia. And after that, it'll begin a 90-sol operation on the Martian surface. Surface. The landing site is also significant though in terms of exploration on the white planet, since as on the 3rd of September 1976, which was ages ago, the Viking 2 spacecraft for NASA touched down in the region, marking its second ever landing on Mars. Viking 2 scientific mission lasted close to 4 years, and not anywhere near as long as today, until its batteries failed and contact was lost on April 1980. But yeah. So, I want this to happen, as I think it would be really cool for another country to successfully land something on Mars, since, if you don't know, ESA, or the ESA, has attempted this at least once, in my opinion, and as far as I know, with, the lander that landed the same way this thing will land, and, Perseverance and Curiosity lands. But then, it didn't land successfully. But yeah, that's that. Next, talking about another thing on Mars, being very Marsy today. Talking about Ingenuity, how it was entering operation after its demonstration phase. And the Perseverance team is ready for its initial science return. So, nearly 3 months after landing on Mars, NASA's Perseverance mission is marking its initial science returns from the Martian surface, as the Ingenuity helicopter enters its new phase of operational demonstration flights on the white planet. 2 things happening at once. That'll be cool. So, Ingenuity made its first flight on April 19th, 2021. Almost exactly a month ago. About, just under a month and 5 days. Just under a month ago. Almost 117 years after the Wright brothers made their history-making flight on Kill Devil Hill. Well, I've been to, by the way. Also during that time, also on Ingenuity, there's actually a piece of the Wright flyer, of the glider / airplane powered thing that they used to make that flight. So yeah, the watercraft's first flight only lasted about 40 seconds, 49.1 seconds, compared to the Wright flyer's 12-second flight. As not to the Wright brothers, blah blah, a small piece of the Wright flyer. But yeah, it made that first flight. Its second flight on April 22nd, almost about 3 days later, the electric helicopter was vertically to 5 meters, flew laterally for 2 meters, made 3 turns, stayed airborne for just under a minute, and then landed. A few days later, it took flight for the 3rd time on the 25th of April. The watercraft was vertically to 5 meters, flew laterally for 50 meters, achieved an airspeed of 2 meters a second, which doesn't sound that fast, but that's actually good speed for this thing, and landed safely. Ingenuity's fourth flight was originally planned for the 29th of April, but its computer failed to change to flight mode and the craft stayed on the ground. After JPL evaluated what happened, the flight was rescheduled for April 30th. With that, the fourth flight occurred. It flew to 5 meters, flew south 433 meters, and then back for a 266 meter round trip. The flight lasted 117 seconds and captured numerous photographs for aerial surveillance of the surrounding landscape. Were designed to only... Okay, I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, the fifth flight complete is now location known as Airfield B. And here's a little quote in the article. The plan forward is to fly Ingenuity in a manner that does not reduce the pace of the Perseverance science operation, said Bellowham. We may get a couple more flights in over the next few weeks, and then the agency will evaluate how we're doing. So yeah, Ingenuity flying multiple times. 6 times, I think. 5 times. And now, here we are. Where we are today. But yes, it has been a week since that 5th flight occurred, and my thoughts on Ingenuity and its hopeful future of helping out Perseverance, as that's what I think it'll do. I'm pretty sure that's what it'll do, but I'm not 100% sure. If so, I've been a lot of but yeah, it'll be very cool to think that the rover that is a very big thing for science is to be assisted by a really big thing for science too. Because helicopters are crazy, but also this thing, having a successful mission already, will hopefully, maybe, the next thing they send them will be a bigger helicopter. Like a big helicopter, not just this tiny, I was about to say drone size, but I'm pretty sure it might be a little bigger than that. Not Ingenuity. Bigger than that. Like, maybe, who knows, maybe oversized. Who knows? But I feel like if they did, the likelihood of it, of flying on Atlas V, like the previous, like Perseverance and Ingenuity, is 0. It's literally 0%. Because, Falcon will be up and running by then, and it'll also be the Earth's only rocket. So it'll either fly on Falcon, or SpaceX fan coming in, Starship. Who knows? But that's a thing for a different day, when it actually happens. But now we have one more thing to talk about. SpaceX launching a Falcon 9 for the 10th time. Here's the thing about this. I will finally have video, as this one will not be an article, but an actual YouTube stream. Keep in mind, this is also by NASA spaceflight, and it will be and the link to it will be in the description below. So, engines ignited. Keep in mind, by the way, this, went completely, like all the other ones did. No, all the other Falcon 9 launches, basically, apart from the ones that had problems, went this way. This is just another normal Starlink launch. In fact, there will be another Starlink launch on Sunday. Not the same booster, or a different one, but another Starlink launch on the Sunday. But yeah, all went normal. Nothing new about it. Ascent went normal. Literally lighting up the entire bay, the entire harbor, and port and whatnot. As it hits higher altitude, the atmosphere starts to thin, and the plume will expand and whatnot. All of this is normal. Literally, almost nothing new occurred in this flight. There was one thing that was new that occurred. It's not a problem. It involves the video, so that's cool. But yep, as that plume begins to expand and look all pretty, as you can see, all 9 Mullen 1D engines, just performing nominally as we approach MECO. By this point, the atmosphere's gone so thin, you can't even really see the plume. You can tell it's still there, but you can't really see it. And then MECO at T plus 2 minutes, 38 seconds. And then that's second engine ignition. And not long after this, they go to the SpaceX stream, which keep in mind is about 40 seconds behind them. Keep in mind that, and there's a little bit of a backup there. Well, really didn't see the fact that SpaceX streams are in 4K, and you cannot live stream, and you can't, and it's hard to live stream that, basically. But yes, failing separation, record at 3 minutes 11 seconds, it's like 3 minutes 14 seconds, 15 seconds. And you can actually, can't you see them? Like, no you can't, but yeah, you can see Orlando, actually, that big, like, almost weird glass break looking thing is Orlando, with the lights. If this all went normal, the booster fell back down to Earth. They focus on just his engine for a while, and because there's nothing important involving that fourth stage for a little bit. Ads. I hate ads. They're so bad. And then they switch back to the camera involving the fourth stage and entry born. You can actually see the RCS and whatnot doing his little things, and then entry born at 6 minutes 42 seconds. This entry born is completely nominal, unlike B1059, which, by the way, because of that, I watched that live. I've been watching the entry born very closely to look for things that involved with that one, hoping that the same failure doesn't occur again. But here's one thing that's really new. You can actually, the video for this is on a little longer, and you can see the sparks and whatnot as the plasma goes through the grid fins as the booster enters the atmosphere. So, because of that, the grid fins begin to spark up and get a little hot. And yeah, after that, you just kind of coast and then they switch off of it until here. They then switch to a camera again that we have only really seen be this way once, really, and it wasn't even really like this. So it's doing its landing born, and then out of nowhere, there's the drone ship. Like, this is awesome, by the way. Landing legs deploy, and touchdown. B1049, or 51, B1051. Landing for the 10th time. 9th time, 10th time, pretty sure the 9th time. But yep, what I think about this, I'm actually going to stop it right there. What I think about this is, quite simply, it's awesome. I love watching these things go. I try to watch our rocket launch whenever I can, on the TV or outside the window, which I've never been able to do. But yeah, this was awesome to watch, especially for me. But yeah, that actually is about it. But also keep in mind, next week's episode we'll most likely be talking about the upcoming launch I'm having on the Sunday. Also talking about what happened with Tian 1, and a couple other things. And also keep in mind that the audio version will be coming out on Saturday, the day after this. Yes, I'm Joe the Teenage Astronaut, signing off.